does not require a cold environment and doesn't have to be that fast. It's a very economical solution actually. So it's very good. It's a little bit like bringing your local farmers market on a global stage.
So Mark, this new technology is opening up interesting global potential.
Exactly. I mean, there's, we saw in the video earlier that strawberries, highly perishable, but a premium product. I've never had strawberries as good as the ones I've had here in Japan. And now there's a new market open for Japanese strawberry growers abroad. This is really a disruptive technology, opening up these new markets that weren't reachable before.
Right.
And I think, what we have to keep in mind is with, more and more trade agreement between economic bloc, food travels better than it used to. And obviously what you need to address here is a very good control of the chain, quality control, preservation. That's where actually this technology could play a big role. The second thing also we see in mostly developed countries, that's true, you have actually a growing premium food market. Actually, even you have a luxury food market, which is actually, we've done an internal study at Bain that actually quantified this at about $50 billion market already. And this luxury market is becoming bigger and bigger.
And to sustain this luxury food market, preservation is key.
Absolutely.
There's a mail-order food in Japan today that purchasers are waitlisted for. It's raw skipjack tuna with a lightly grilled surface. One set costs around $100, which is roughly twice as much as usual. Nonetheless, orders pour in from all over Japan. The secret lies in the almost magical freshness of the raw fish. After it's gone, the fish just stays fresh. How is that possible? To get the answer, let's visit Western Japan, the source of this mail-order food. One key point is catching the skipjack using pole and line. No nets. The fish goes straight from sea to storage. They fillet the fish and sear it over burning straw to give it a special aroma. The fillets are vacuum-packed and ready for delivery. And that's where we see the other key factor, the white substance used to pack the fillets. It's used at all stages of the process. The nickname for this substance is magic ice. It's actually slurry ice, microcrystals of ice that look like sherbet. The person who proposed slurry ice is Tatsuo Nakagoshi from Kochi, a major center for skipjack products. He wanted to highlight the freshness of their just-caught skipjack to give them a competitive advantage.
We aim to add value and sell at a higher price.
Local university associate professor Yasunori Matsumoto helped on the project. Slurry ice first came to Japan from overseas. It was mostly made from seawater containing 3.4% salt. But this ice didn't deliver the kind of freshness they were looking for. Eventually, they discovered that the ice needed to have a salinity of 1%. If we compare the two, after 20 hours, the temperature of the skipjack kept in slurry ice with 3.4% salinity has fallen below -2 degrees Celsius. But the skipjack kept in ice with 1% salinity stays at a constant -1. Just a 1 degree difference has a big impact. Preserved in 1% salt slurry ice, skipjack doesn't freeze. Kept in 3.4% salt slurry ice, it does. That's a problem because a frozen fish loses crucial flavor when it's defrosted. The use of 1% salt slurry ice cools the skipjack without freezing it. The result is a perfect just caught flavor. Seared skipjack preserved like this has become a hot topic on the internet. People love its fresh, delicious flavor. Shipments have risen tenfold in only 4 years. This Japanese technique of keeping fish fresh without freezing is starting to make a business impact around the world. One possible deal involves selling slurry ice making machines in Indonesia. Fishing is a huge industry, so anything that improves freshness is potentially valuable.
Slurry ice making a big impact.
Yeah, it creates a big impact and it adds value. So, I mean, you look at fish and they're the most fresh when they're swimming around in the ocean.
Right.
As soon as you pick that, the freshness starts to degrade. And so by storing and transporting the fish in slurry ice from the point that it's caught out in the ocean makes a huge improvement because you're essentially arresting the natural processes that causes the skipjack to degrade over time. And this creates huge value for the consumer, which is how this company was able to build their brand and sell their product for twice the market rate.
It seems to be a simple but a game changer.
So, I think what's interesting in this example, because, players in this field have to learn new tricks and actually also new skills, right? This kind of a new technology that enables you to actually, really ship directly premium solutions to the customers. And, it could also trigger a totally new way of distributing food as well. You could actually start thinking about, online delivery, online communication, and you could combine with retailers in some kind of an omni-channel way of actually operating, which could be a potential application for this kind of technology.
Right, absolutely. So, Mark, are there any other noticeable technology?
Yes, John. Rapid freezing technology is another great way to preserve foods.
Freezing, I thought freezing is a no-no word.
Not always.
How is that?
The problem with freezing is that there's a lot of damage that the cells incur when they're being frozen. What we see here is a cell before it's been frozen. You can see all the cell walls are intact. You can think of them kind of like water balloons.
Right.
Most meat and fish are composed of about 60% water. And so you have these membranes holding in a liquid inside. And the problem occurs when you go to freeze this traditionally, where the water starts to crystallize as it freezes, and these crystals, daggers that pierce the cell walls. And then when you go to defrost this, it's like a water balloon with holes poked in it. As soon as that defrosts, all of the water is expelled. All of that flavor and the moisture has come out of that meat or that piece of fish, and it's ruined the texture, it's ruined the taste. So the solution is to freeze something without growing large ice crystals.
And how is that possible?
Ice crystals typically form between -1 and -5 degrees Celsius. So if you can freeze something fast enough, you can basically blow right past that range where you're forming ice crystals. And so you end up with something that looks a little bit more like this, where you have small ice crystals within the cells, and the cell walls aren't damaged. So when you defrost something like this, it returns to its initial state before it was frozen.
Okay. But it does seem to come with a price, right?
Maybe one way we can actually answer this question is to say that it's really what matters, the total cost, actually. It's not just the cost of just freezing, which is probably more expensive, but it's actually the total cost of actually not losing value in the process, because then at the end of the day, you may end up with a much cost-effective solution.
And a larger addressable market, too.
Right.
That's right. So, it's not only about the technology, it's about what the technology will actually drive in terms of change in the business system.
Absolutely.
Singapore, a city that attracts people from all over the world. Here's a popular restaurant serving authentic Japanese cuisine. Its selling point is that it uses seasonal ingredients shipped direct from Japan to make beautiful, subtly flavored dishes. All the ingredients are actually rapid frozen in Japan. This is fugu sashimi, a Japanese delicacy. It came in this frozen pack. This grilled fish was also frozen, then defrosted and cooked. Let's see what happens Japan side. A Japanese restaurant in Tokyo. The dishes served in Singapore came from here.
The freshness of the defrosted fish is the same as that of raw fish.
The brain behind the new business is Keiichi Miyamoto, president of a chain of restaurants in Japan.
We made this pressed sushi. We take great ingredients and add the cooking skills of top-class chefs. This is miso-flavored grilled fish. When defrosted after rapid freezing, it tastes the same as when properly cooked in a traditional Japanese restaurant.
His aim was to create a new Japanese restaurant business model using rapid freezing technology. But it's not easy to recreate the authentic flavors of Japanese food. Japanese chefs are said to train for over 10 years, mastering everything from selecting ingredients to adding flavors. Miyamoto came up with the idea of fast freezing dishes prepared by Japanese chefs. Then you recreate the authentic flavors in other countries simply by defrosting the food and arranging it. This is stock used to make soups and is defrosted together with frozen clams. Even local staff with little knowledge of Japanese food can make authentic soup. It's now possible to recreate Japanese appetizers that are a delight to the eye.
All over the world, you can recreate dishes made by top Japanese chefs using made-in-Japan ingredients. The challenge for us is to win acceptance of this new technology in the huge and highly competitive restaurant market.
This was an industry PR event that Miyamoto organized. It drew more than 200 people. They were all very curious about the potential of fast freezing technology.
Excellent. It doesn't give you any sense of frozen food. It's really amazing. This stuff's incredible. I'd like to use it in my own business.
This is Japanese beef, Wagyu, from Akita Prefecture in the north of Japan.
This is.
A bank executive in Akita says Miyamoto's approach using rapid freezing could be a big plus for regional producers.
I think this is epoch making. If the regional producers just sell the product to Mr. Miyamoto's company, for example, processing company, then he can export the products to his restaurant overseas. In the past, regional producers have to pay the commission to the trading company in Japan and also to the agent overseas. But they don't have to pay such commission. That's why the final price may be reduced in the overseas country.
Miyamoto's ultimate goal is a system where produce from all over Japan is used to generate dishes that are fast frozen and shipped globally. He wants to share the authentic taste of Japanese food worldwide.
Rapid freezing can stop the clock and make it possible for our products to reach people anywhere in the world. Japanese ingredients are among the best in the world. We can be winners in the global food market with this new business model.
With this freshness preserving technology, the premium Japanese cuisine going global.
Yep. It's a trend. There's definitely a demand that's been growing overseas for more authentic and premium Japanese food. But it's been really difficult to meet that demand with chefs that are trained in preparing traditional Japanese cuisine.
I guess it's a great idea for businesses dealing with food in general.
Yeah, I think this is something that could benefit any cuisine around the world. It's able to spread that value across multiple restaurants instead of one place managed by one chef.
You cannot clone the chef, obviously, right? I would not want to think about that. So if you cannot clone the chef, you can at least clone the food. And that's actually what this technology is about, bringing the chef's masterpiece to your plate the way actually it was intended to.
Mark, what's going to happen to your consulting business?
Looks like I might be looking for a new job, John.
But it's not that simple, right? The restaurant business.
No, in all seriousness, this kind of a product is a great way to introduce authentic Japanese food to a certain segment in the market. But it's never going to replace a chef-driven restaurant.
Right. You hope.
I hope. Fingers crossed.
So, Kenji, what are the implications of this freshness preservation technology in a bigger view?
When you think about the global food trends and the global trade flows, you had, obviously traditionally a very big breadbasket centers around the world, like the US, Australia, Brazil, and basically they ship raw material around the world to the destination market, right? What we see in the video is quite interesting because basically it could potentially turn a couple of countries into central kitchen for the rest of the world, right? So you would just start shipping processed food, which actually from a logistics standpoint, it's actually even better from, economic standpoint because you basically ship added value items as opposed to just raw materials. If you have an integrated refrigerated system, actually, that could bring a logistic revolution that will actually reduce the number of handling points, that will also reduce the number of intermediaries and agents, and you end up paying less commission. So in many, many ways, you have a bit of a shift of value chain in the food chain.
Right. And if you take a bigger view, there's an issue of food waste, and maybe freshness preservation technology may be an answer.
Yeah, they say by 2050, we're going to have to increase our food production by 60 to 70% in order to meet the demands of a global population that'll be over 9 billion at that point. And I'm not saying that this is the solution. I don't think there's any one solution. But this food preservation technology could be a huge part of that. You're able to save a lot in wastage, not just from an economic standpoint, but also from a supply standpoint, which could then go to feed some of those hungry people.
I think, the next challenge is about, making this technology affordable for the rest of the world, right? So we should actually look forward to the further development of this technology in the mainstream and how a Japanese company will actually bring down the cost curve to a point where actually it is affordable to anyone.
So it makes sense business-wise and even ethical issues.
Definitely. From a societal perspective, I think this could be a huge benefit all around.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. So freshness preserving technology is supporting a worldwide Japanese food boom. If this technology is applied skillfully, it will make Japanese food available in many places around the world fresh. You will definitely enjoy them. And also, join us again next time on BizBuzz Japan.